Most people meet a horse with a plan: to ride, to train, to lead. But one cowboy learned something different. That before you ask a horse for anything, you must first become someone worth trusting. This isn't a story about domination or breaking a spirit. It's about a quiet conversation between species. One made of breath, body language, and patience. The cowboy in this story doesn't chase horses. He waits for them. He listens to the unspoken. He lets them choose him. And the incredible part? When a horse decides you are safe, it will follow you not out of fear, but out of friendship. Today, we explore how one man turned that simple truth into a lifelong partnership with horses and how you can begin the same journey. He always said a horse can feel your heart before it ever sees your hands. So he never entered a corral with tension, frustration, or an agenda. To him, friendship began with stillness. Instead of trying to control the horse, he focused on becoming someone the horse wanted to be near. He matched its breathing, softened his posture, and allowed space, real space, for curiosity to grow. No ropes, no pressure, just presence. Over years of working with wild, nervous, and forgotten horses, he developed a simple belief: respect first, expectations later. Because you can't force trust into a prey animal whose survival depends on reading every subtle signal. So he let the horse watch him, study him, decide for itself. And that quiet choice, he believed, was the true foundation of friendship. The first breakthrough never came with touching the horse. It came the moment he learned to speak its language. He watched the horse's ears flick back and forth, listening, questioning, calculating. He noticed the slight sway in its ribcage, the shifting of weight from fear to curiosity. So he mirrored the horse. One step forward, then pause. One step back, then breathe. Matching rhythms, matching energy. Slowly, the horse's head lowered. Its eyes softened. It licked and chewed a tiny gesture that said, "I'm thinking about trusting you." And then it happened. The horse took a single step toward him. Not pulled, not pushed, a choice made freely. The cowboy didn't rush to touch it. He simply stood there, still and open, letting that fragile moment of connection become the first thread in a bond. Trust is never built in a straight line. Just when the connection seemed solid, a sudden crack of a branch spooked the horse. It bolted to the far side of the pen, heart pounding, eyes wide, every muscle trembling. Most people would rush forward, try to grab a halter, restore control. But the cowboy didn't move, didn't shout, didn't blame. He simply breathed, slow and steady. Because he knew fear is not disobedience, it's memory. A lifetime of instincts reminding a prey animal to survive first, question later. So he gave the horse space, letting it settle on its own terms. And when the horse finally looked back at him, uncertain but searching, he just softened his posture and waited. No pressure, no expectations. Slowly, the horse walked toward him again, not because it was forced, but because it discovered he was still safe. Over the next few days, the sessions changed. Not because the cowboy asked for more, but because the horse began offering more. It started with following him at a distance, then at his shoulder, then finally, matching his steps like a quiet shadow. He introduced gentle touch, not grabbing, not claiming, just brushing a hand along the neck and stepping away again. The horse leaned in, accepting, inviting, trusting. Next came the groundwork. A soft ask for a turn. A lift of energy for a trot. A quiet exhale to slow. No ropes. No halters. Just understanding. Every movement felt like a dance, one where neither partner led, but both listened. For the cowboy, this wasn't training. It was conversation. And with every shared breath, the horse began to realize something powerful. This human wasn't here to control it, but to walk beside it. The sun was blazing, the crowd was buzzing, and Rory had just lined up what should have been the easiest birdie putt of his day. Should have. Because, of course, this is golf, and nothing goes the way it's supposed to. Just as Rory pulled back his putter, thud! A massive gust of wind came rolling across the fairway like it had beef with him personally. His ball wobbled, the flagstick rattled, and the gallery collectively gasped as the putt trickled offline like a toddler wandering away from a playground. And who was the cause of this chaos? Well, cue Bryson DeChambeau, who had just unleashed a 210 miles per hour swing on the driving range nearby. The man generates enough wind power to run a small village. Every time he tees off, someone on the course gets accidentally deep conditioned. Rory looked over like, "Bro, are you golfing or trying to open a portal to another dimension?" But chaos wasn't done yet. A squirrel, yes, an actual squirrel, darted across the green and parked itself right next to Rory's ball. The crowd froze. Rory froze. Even the squirrel froze, like it suddenly realized it wasn't supposed to be part of the PGA Tour. Then it grabbed the ball and ran. Just sprinted off with a Titleist Pro V1 like it was planning to pawn it on eBay. The entire audience erupted in laughter. The cameraman could barely keep the shot steady. Rory? He was done. Just hands on hips, staring after the squirrel as if questioning every life decision that led him to this moment. Officials ruled he could drop another ball. But emotionally, he was already 5 strokes over. By the time Rory made it to the next tee box, he'd already accepted that the universe was having a laugh at his expense. But even he didn't expect what came next. He stepped up, took a deep breath, and swung, clean, smooth, perfect. For exactly half a second. Then the ball hit something. Ping! Everyone blinked. What did he just hit? A drone. An actual drone. Some overenthusiastic fan had been filming cinematic golf shots for their Instagram reel, and Rory's ball smacked that drone out of the sky like he was auditioning for the Avengers. The drone spiraled down in slow motion, its propellers sputtering like a dying mosquito, and crash-landed right in front of the tee box. The crowd gasped. The owner gasped. Rory didn't even flinch. He was already spiritually numb. The marshals rushed over. "Sir, you can't fly that here." And the fan replied, "I didn't know he'd hit it." Rory shook his head, muttering something along the lines of course it was me. Why wouldn't it be me?" But the chaos wasn't over. Not today. Because just as he went to re-tee, a flock of geese descended onto the fairway like they were invading Normandy. Honking, screeching, marching in formation. One goose in particular, clearly the leader, stood just a few yards ahead, staring directly at Rory with pure disrespect. As if challenging him. Rory sighed. "You've got to be kidding me." The goose hissed. The crowd backed up. Even the caddy whispered, "Don't do it, mate, they're fearless." For a moment, it was man versus goose. A standoff for the ages. Finally, a volunteer bravely walked out waving a towel like they were trying to scare away a ghost. The geese eventually, waddled off, still honking insults as they disappeared into the rough. Rory re-teed, swung, and, miracle of miracles, the ball finally went straight. The crowd cheered. Rory exhaled. But deep down he knew. If today had taught him anything, it's that no matter how well you play, the golf gods always have the final say. After surviving drones, geese, broken tees, rebellious bunkers, and a golf ball with abandonment issues, Rory found himself staring down the final holes with one thought. I refuse to lose to wildlife and gravity today. And that's when something shifted. His posture straightened. His swing calmed. His soul reconnected with the ancient spirits of golf. Or maybe he just finally had enough caffeine kicking in. Rory stepped onto the 16th tee like a man possessed. He swung, and the ball launched with a sound so pure it made 3 spectators tear up emotionally. Even the goose general from earlier paused in the distance, impressed. By 17, the crowd sensed it. Whispering, leaning in, watching the comeback form like a storm cloud of redemption. The commentators, once gleefully mocking his misery, suddenly shifted their tone. Rory McIlroy, showing resilience, a true champion. Someone delete our earlier tweets. Approaching the 18th green, he was locked in. Golf Zen mode activated. This putt, this final putt, could salvage the entire chaotic disaster of a day. He crouched. Read the line. Tapped the ball. It rolled, slow at first, then perfectly on track, then curving like it had AI-assisted steering. The crowd held their breath. Clink. Drop. The place erupted. Fans cheered. Caddies fist-pumped. Even the geese seemed to honk in approval. Rory raised his hands in victory, not because he won the tournament, but because he defeated the universe's random nonsense generator. In that moment he realized, golf doesn't test your swing. Golf tests your patience, sanity, and spiritual tolerance for chaos. And on this day, Rory passed, barely, but he passed. And there you have it, the wild, unpredictable, slightly ridiculous chronicle of Rory McIlroy's day. A day where everything that could go wrong did, spectacularly. A day where golf balls developed personalities, geese waged psychological warfare, and bunkers plotted like cartoon villains. But here's the thing. Through every mishit, every unlucky bounce, every cosmic joke, Rory kept going. Because that's golf. It's not about perfection. It's about resilience. It's about keeping your cool while the universe throws sand, literally, into your eyes. Rory walked off that final green with a scorecard full of mysteries, a pride slightly dented, and a story that will live on forever. Mostly because the internet doesn't forget. But he also walked away with something stronger. Proof that champions aren't made when everything goes right. Champions are made when everything goes wrong, and they still swing anyway. So next time your ball hooks into the woods, or your chip shot somehow defies physics and rolls backwards, just remember Rory. Smile, reset, swing again. Because on the golf course, chaos isn't the enemy. It's part of the game. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this wild ride, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who also battles with geese on the course. See you in the next one, where the drama continues.